There is bombshell news coming out of Congress that more Republicans are set to resign by the end of the year, which could give the Democrats the majority before 2026. This is real. Here's the headline. Marjorie Taylor Greene's decision to walk away could only be the start of a deeper implosion inside the House GOP, reports the Daily Beast. They go on to say, furious House Republican warns more explosive resignations are coming. This is an absolute bombshell. And what's happening here is there are actual Republicans that want to govern, believe it or not. Yes, they've been cowardice, but they have the biggest coward on the planet in Moses Mike Grinder Johnson, who every single day gets in front of a camera and speaks for an audience of one. He has completely abdicated all of his power to Kanks, who is flailing, dementia, sucking up to Zoran Mamdani. Hey, yeah, call me a fascist. I don't care. The Republicans are in complete disarray. Jake Sherman elaborates on the mess. A few other GOP members messaged us over the weekend saying that they too are considering retiring in the middle of the term. Here's one particularly exercised senior House Republican. This is a quote. This entire White House team has treated all members like garbage, all. And Mike Johnson has let it happen because he wanted it to happen. That is the sentiment of nearly all appropriators, authorizers, hawks, doves, rank and file. The arrogance of this White House team is off-putting to members who are run roughshod and threatened. They don't even allow little wins like announcing small grants or even responding from agencies. Not even the high profile, the regular rank and file random members are more upset than ever. Members know they are going into the minority after the midterms. More explosive early resignations are coming. It's a tinderbox. Morale has never been lower. Mike Johnson will be stripped of his gavel and they will lose the majority before this term is out. You guys, this is earth-shattering. MAGA is in shambles. We've been calling it. It started with the MAGA influencers. It started with the podcasters. You can see that you have the Russian assets within the administration cooperating and bending the knee to Putin, while Marco Rubio, who's a total piece of shit, calls senators and is like, hey, this is Russian propaganda on the Ukraine peace deal. There are so many people in Congress that cannot stand this president. They cannot stand Moses Mike Grinder Johnson, but that base is so vile and so reprehensible. They're terrified of them. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene said, the Democrats, we've hated her for all of these years. She's never had to resign. She's never had to get security. The minute Trump turns on her, the base goes at her full tilt. And it gets even juicier. All of this reporting is confirmed by Marjorie Taylor Greene. Put this up. Marjorie Taylor Greene says, fact check true, but it's worse than people inside the bubble know when you talk to real Americans outside the wicked snow globe of Washington, D.C. Myself and many of my colleagues came courageously, blah, blah, blah. She wants to, work. She says that it will be the American people asking candidates, what tangible thing have you done for me? And how did you do it? Will it make my life better? And then actually trying to get them to vote after both parties have failed them. Serious changes are needed and words are unconvincing. So she's been out and she knows, you guys, they can gerrymander and they can do all of the shit they want to do. It is going to be a blue tsunami. People kind of like Kanks when he's campaigning. He's an agitator. He's an entertainer. Then he starts governing, and like every single Republican administration before him, they tank the economy. The only thing different about Kanks is he did it in record time. With George W. Bush, it took 2 full terms before it really started tanking because they did it incrementally. Kanks went full tilt destruction. And the only thing that is keeping the stock market alive are 7 companies, tech-based companies. All of the other companies in the S&P 500, they are all failing right now. And so the economy is in shatters. People cannot stand the corruption. They cannot stand this flailing president. And here we have on the news, Megan Hayes, she further elaborates on the mass exodus of Republican members from Congress. Put up the clip.
Decide whether or not they're going to bend the knee to Trump or they're going to do what's right for their constituents. And if they don't bend the knee to Trump, then they get a flacking from the MAGA base. They get harassed online. They get harassed in their districts at town halls. And then they have a primary challenger that becomes extremely dirty and nasty. So I don't blame them for wanting to retire and not have to put up with that. They want to go there and do work for their district and for their constituents. And they're not being able to do that because Trump's agenda isn't working for them and isn't working for their constituents. So I understand why Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to leave as well. She can be a thorn in the side to MAGA, a thorn in the side to Republicans, a thorn in the side to Democrats, and make more money outside of Congress and probably be more effective.
So that's wild. If you're a MAGA politician and you earnestly want to go do conservative shit in Congress, if you do not bend the knee to this dementia-ridden, just thin-skinned egomaniac who is given a blowjob to some guy named Bubba, you're watching our national security just completely erode. All of our relationship with our allies gone. Europe doesn't trust us. There's no information exchange. The economy's in a free fall. He's investigating and trying to unsuccessfully charge people whom he has a resentment towards. This is not working, but we have to be super cautious because this man, he has gone into office and he doesn't ever have any deep plan. It's just, I want a quick win. Yeah, I want a quick win. I want to redecorate the Oval. I want to build a ballroom. Yeah, fuck it. Tear down the whole East Wing. Tear it all down. Let's do it. I don't care. What are they going to do? Throw me in jail? I'm never leaving here. Authoritarians and dictators, once they get into power, most of their moves are about keeping power. And one of the ways that he has to keep power is he has to placate to Vladimir Putin, because we all know, because we're not stupid, that it is obvious that Vladimir Putin has compromising information on Trump. And so what is he going to do if this happens beforehand, if it happens before the midterms, if there's a mass exodus like all of these people are predicting, or we get to the midterms and it is a total blue tsunami? Rick Wilson wrote an essay on Substack, and we need to stay alert. Pop up this headline. Ex-GOP analyst issues dire warning about Trump after midterm. He is planning a siege. And here is an excerpt from that. Rick Wilson writes, Trump is already aiming the federal machine at the midterms. If you think a lame duck can't cause chaos, you didn't learn the lessons of 2020, Wilson wrote. The lame duck period then gave Trump and his allies space to organize a coup attempt. Now imagine that same playbook with 4 years of institutional capture, a more radical staff, and a president who knows he can't be reelected and doesn't care who he burns. Watch what happens in red state legislatures and courts when Trump calls on them to throw out the election results, or when Moses Mike Grinder Johnson declines to seat newly elected members, which Moses Mike Grinder Johnson has already done that. And he finally had to swear in the congresswoman from Grijalva from Arizona. But a lot of this is Trump has a bunch of sycophants in place that will help him cling on to power. You see just how ridiculous the people surrounding him are. Those cabinet meetings where they heap praise onto him and tell him how great he is, despite the polling being in the 30s, despite inflation on the rise, despite not solving 7 or 8 wars as he drones on and on about. So this is a really key moment if these Republicans resign, because they're too cowardice to put up a fight and too scared of the MAGA base to do so. And if we have a mass exodus and little Moses Mike Grinder Johnson is gone before the midterms, and we have a Speaker, Hakeem Jeffries, that will swear in people and will uphold the rule of law, this could go a lot quicker. Now, I believe Rick Wilson. I believe that Trump will do anything and everything to cling on to power. He's already showing people, if you disagree with me, I'll charge you in federal court. If you tell me I can't tell my military what to do, they're opening up an investigation against a sitting retired captain in the Navy, Senator Mark Kelly. So he's not fucking around. He will use whatever level of lever of power that he can, as illegal as all get out, to try to cling on to power. But let's just hope that Marjorie Taylor Greene is the canary in the coal mine, and that she comes out and a bunch of other Republicans resign as well, because they are going to get their asses handed to them in the midterms. It will be a blue tsunami. But I agree that Rick Wilson, what Rick Wilson says, that he will break every law. He will do everything he possibly can to stay in that Marie Antoinette Oval Office. And I did just see an image of Melania. I couldn't even play it on here, walking across the White House lawn with a Christmas tree. And I just want to remind you all that she said the last time they were in office, who gives a fuck about Christmas? All right, that's all we have for this episode. Like, subscribe, buy our book, Life is a Lazy of Shit Sandwiches, and we'll be back later with more news.